Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wimbledon Spiritualist Church Divine Service. On behalf of Jackie and I extend a warm and loving welcome to you all. Not too warm today, should be a cold welcome, but it's very hot here in Wimbledon. It's about 28, 29 already, I believe. So welcome. Now, there's going to be a slight change to this morning's programme. Some of you will be probably really ecstatically pleased. I won't be chairing today. I'm going to hand over to Ashley, and Phil and Ashley are our mediums this morning. So Ashley Robinson and Phil Shaw will be taking the service, and Ashley will be doing some of the other bits and pieces this morning as well. So can I remind everybody, this is a live service on Facebook and YouTube, and we're streaming live this very moment. And if you're watching it later, it's a recorded service. So welcome everybody, have a great day, and on behalf of the church, have a great time. I know you're going to have some great mediumship this morning. I now hand you over to Mr. Ashley Robinson. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to Wimbledon Spiritualist Church. I'm going to do a couple of hellos both on virtual land and in Wimbledon, but suddenly as I'm saying names from the church, if you suddenly don't want to be here because you should be out getting the milk or something, you know, give me a special signal. But Mary Dixie, lovely to see you today, and Stephen Kelly in the church, and Olwyn and Shirley and Barbara and Ivor and Daphne, Lenka, good to see you, and Jim and Sharon, hi, good morning, and good morning to everyone here at Wimbledon Spiritualist Church, and a good morning to you wherever you are in the world. It may not even be morning, it may be evening. I know we get a couple of views from all over the world now. If you are joining us online for the first time, a special welcome to you. Do let us know where you're watching perhaps the service from. It's always great to chat and engage with people. And of course, remember that if you do want to participate in the service today on YouTube, you need to make sure you've logged in and participate in the live chat. And of course, if you are doing that, share this link. If you're in the church and you've enjoyed what you say, to share that knowledge. Send someone a text message and say it was a great service this morning. On Facebook, you can participate by chatting on the wall, and all of those comments will be regulated by the producer, Mr. Richard James, that will try and let us know that you are engaging. So try and do a couple of hellos and welcomes. And when we're doing the mediumship later, bear in mind that the link could be in the church, it could be online. So when we are coming to you, Phil and I, try and say yes, and then tell us what you're saying yes to. Ideally, you'll be saying yes to everything. So if you say yes, the assumption is you're saying yes to everything. Hopefully our guides and links and inspirers will let us know if we are in the church, if we're on online. Now, our ambition today is that Spirit, that can be anywhere at any time, all of the time, are going to give us some messages between the two. But I'll now come and do a couple of hellos and welcomes to those that have joined us online. So good morning to Fifine McCrackers. That's a really interesting name. I'm not going to laugh in case it is your real name, but it's a beautiful name nonetheless. Stace Shaw says good morning to everybody, and good morning to everybody at Wimbledon, says Stace. Christine Davis joins us on YouTube. She says hello to everybody. Hiya, Christine. Tracy Honey, good morning. Good morning. That was a bit French, wasn't it? I didn't mean to do that. Kelly Rockets, good evening from Australia. Good day. Good morning, UK. And Christine Marius joins us. She says hello to everybody. Jasmine Brown joins us on Facebook land. Hiya, good morning. And so does, is it Alan McBain? Alana McBain. Cheryl Boxall, good morning. Joins us on YouTube. Tony Wright from Facebook. Hello, Tony. Sarah Jane Bruce, good morning to you. Heidi Spicer says hi to everybody. Diane, good morning to you. Blessings to all, she says. Julie Caswell, hello, Julie. Good morning. Lorna, hey, Lorna, good morning. She says, good morning, Wombles. Good morning, everybody, from Karen King. Hiya, Karen. Dee Thompson says hello to everybody. Hello to, I think that's Cherie. Good evening. Good evening. Good morning. All over the place today. Olivia Louise says hello. Hiya, Louise. Dawn, good morning to you, Dawn. And that is Sanella. Sanella C, good morning. Ritz Groni. It's always a good test. You can see why the people that do live shows are paid the big bucks on you, and this auto cue's always challenging. Joanne Lewis says hi to everyone at Wimbledon Spiritualist Church. Hiya, Joanne. And hiya, Carol, watching from Gosport. Georgie Wood. Hiya, Georgie. Amanda Jane says, good morning. Hi, Amanda. Mary Ann says, good morning from Clearwater, Florida. Hello. Dan Marino. Hiya. Hiya, Dan. Queenie Aura says, good morning to you all. Sarah Mills says, hello from Peacehaven. That's a nice breeze down at Peacehaven today. Morning to Michelle Joyette Hull. Sylvia Freeston says, good morning and God bless to everybody. Morning all from Angela. Hi, Angela. Okay, so we'll let those comments come up automatically now. Good morning to everybody that's joined us both at the church. I say we're beaming out live from Wimbledon Spiritualist Church this morning. Your mediums are Mr. Phil Shaw and I. I've given you a couple of housekeeping rules on Facebook and YouTube to participate. Those in the congregation, simply wave your hand and give us an indication that we could be with you. Dan says good morning from sunny Devon. Hiya, Dan. Other thing is, folks, for those of you in the church, we do appreciate your energy, your attendance here today and your donations. For those online that want to donate towards the upkeep of the church, your donations are very much appreciated. And you can find our PayPal website, which is paypal.me/ladproms, or you can go to wimbledonspiritualistchurch.co.uk and you'll see the PayPal button at the top. Any donation is very much welcome. To keep the doors at Wimbledon open, and indeed our sister church at Hatbridge, which we hope to open the doors for the first time in July. We're looking perhaps at some fortnightly Thursday services to get us up and going after the pop-up shop, and we're hoping to do some more pop-ups at Hatbridge and some one-to-ones coming up soon. Okay, I think I've done all the hellos and welcomes. Now I would like to, hello Leslie Knight. I'd like to introduce Mr. Phil Shaw to open our service with a prayer, and I encourage you to all join us in that opening prayer. Thank you. Oh, and good morning to Pamela.
Good morning, everyone, online and in church. Welcome to Wimbledon. Please join me in the opening prayer. As we connect with the world of spirit, we ask a blessing on this service, that through the intercession with our loved ones, guides, and inspirers, we may move into a greater understanding of our life and soul purpose, be inspired to fulfill our potential, and give love, light, and healing to our planet. We say thank you to Ray, Jackie, and everyone who contributes to the welfare of Wimbledon Spiritualist Church, this place of peace and regeneration. Let us send love, peace, and healing to the world and its peoples, and the animals and sentient beings, and embrace the whole of creation with our love and our blessings and thanks. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, friends, for joining us in opening in prayer. We're going to do the healing moments now, and I invite anybody in the church that hasn't already given us a name. You're welcome to just think about that person, or you can shout out their name just before we have that moment of silence. For those of you on Facebook and YouTube, if there are particular people that you want to send absent healing to today, then you can perhaps, if you want for affirmation, write their name in the wall and ask for healing for that person, or just put that person's name in your mind, in your heart. The power of absent healing is proven. All we need to do is think positively, send out that unconditional love. So friends, I invite you to all take that moment now to think about the opportunity to send out love, light, and indeed laughter, because laughter is the thing we want to be infectious right now, and we want people to smile. We want people to be safe and well. So we'll take a moment just to think about some of those people, and maybe ourselves. There's some names I would like to read out here. We have Betty from New Zealand, Amber, Stephen and Kelly, Jackie, Jack and Rachel, and Christian Erickson, Ray, Liza, Mick, Charlie, and anyone else that is dear to us that we want to send that absent healing thoughts to. So we'll just take a moment's silence now while we think about those people. We visualize and see them well. We see them healthy. Thank you, friends, and God bless. I would now ask that you join me with that serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So mote it be. Amen. I would now like to invite Phil Shaw back up to give us a poem. Thank you, Phil.
This is Invictus by William Ernest Henley. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Thank you, Phil, for that poem. And Phil and I had 5 minutes this morning when we spoke about how we're looking to work in synchronicity today. And I said, well, we'll upset Dad. We'll move around the agenda slightly, and I'll take inspiration from your poem for the address. And I love the way that the universe works, because as I was sitting there, I was talking to my guides and my inspirers, and I was talking about the power of now. That was what was coming forward to me, being the architect of your own sort of pathway. So lovely, that poem. It always works like this, and hopefully we'll have that with our mediumship. But as I give the address today, I want to focus on the power of now, and I want to focus on you. Absolutely. We are the architects of our life. We have this incredible gift of free will. And free will, really important to me as a spiritualist. As a spiritualist, we talk about personal responsibility. As a spiritual person, not necessarily part of spiritualism, but my own spiritual philosophy, is the understanding or the concept of reincarnation, the concept of perhaps choosing elements or ingredients of our destiny. And I do believe in destiny, but I think free will and the lack of memory from any previous incarnation suggests that right now, the power of now, those are the important things. And as a spiritualist, for me, that's very important, because we only get this experience in this body, in this incarnation, with our friends and our family. We get that experience once a day, and we get to live it every single day. So the important thing for me now is that we react. We have to react to the cards that are played by other opponents. I was messing around with someone yesterday at a barbecue, and they said they didn't like being called a player. And this young lady, and I said, well, if life was a game, it's important to at least be a player in it. Doesn't necessarily to see a negativity in that. So assuming there is a destiny for us all, and assuming we had some say in perhaps where we may have been born or how we may have incarnated, all of that prior knowledge and memory is gone. We arrive knowing what we are baptized around, not formally baptized, but our culture, our upbringing, those roots, all of those seeds, how those seeds may or may not be looked after and nourished and looked after. All of those things shape our culture. And we have free will. We can let other people's attitude and behavior affect our attitude, which affects our behavior. We can recognize their attitude affecting their behavior and change our reaction. Think about that serenity prayer, understanding the things that we can control, the difference between the things we can't, which suggests that someone else's free will could actually throw in the equivalent of a spiritual grenade into any destiny. So we have to react all the time. We have to react to situations. And some of the experiences we're going through or we've gone through or we're about to go through, perhaps they weren't part of our original destiny, but perhaps they're part of someone else's. Or perhaps it was that a combination of those free will decisions has led to where we are now. So no one really knows for sure. We'll have lots of people give opinions on karma and reincarnation. But in terms of being spiritual and of being in the power of now, it's about how we react to that. It's about what we let affect our attitude and what we let affect our behavior in order to live our best possible life, our best possible next move or next step. And while I love the power of free will, one of the exciting things for me as I've been growing up is understanding that there are inspirers, my own inspirers. I've always believed that we have at least one principal guide, a spirit being, a spirit energy who dedicates their entire life in the spirit world to our earthly life. That's a big job. That's a big contract. Call it a soul contract if you like. But they are there. The Jiminy Cricket of Ashley Robinson in my inspiration. It's up to me when and if I choose to listen to them, or even if I ask them for advice. Do I ask them for a steer? Do I do that consciously? Or am I aware that a combination of my intuition, my instinct, my heart, my brain, as it pushes me forward, is that a guide subtly giving me that steer? Because it's my own free will. My own free will and accord, must I make the next decision, the next move, or react to that situation? Using more modern language, I imagine that when I was born, when I took on this incarnation, I was equipped with the spiritual version of a mobile phone. That mobile phone has been with me as part of my many interfaces in this physical body. And it's only actually through a combination of training or education or culture that I'm even aware of the existence of that phone. But on the other end of that phone, on speed dial, are my guide team, or my inspirers, my angels, the fairy kingdom, whoever it is you seek that inspiration for. So knowing that the phone is there is one part of asking for that help. The second thing is having to found the guidance or the manual to work it. And I'm looking around at the church congregation today. Certainly as a younger man, people like Shirley, I'll pick on Shirley for a moment. I think that you referred to me as a sort of the organizer of you. I was the guide for some of your devices. My nan used to call me the family technician when it comes to programming a video recorder and things like that. But understanding, now we know we've got this phone, how to work it. How do we contact people on it? How do we read the messages? That is something I think we have to actively do within our own conscious mind. And it's only then, after we've worked out what the PIN code was, how to get through the security, let's call them blocks, barriers, we can get to the phone. And then it isn't a question of, is anyone there? It's a question of who is there? Who is there for me? Who is there to give me this advice? Recognizing, of course, that we are the captain, we are the architect. Whatever we get from that phone, from that walkie-talkie, from 2 bits of tin on a string, however you receive that communication, what you do with that information is up to you. Because it's all it is, it's information. We could call it intelligence. What you decide to do has to be generated by you, your options, recognizing the power you have or the lack of power you have in a situation. Thinking about the impact, going back to your core values about what's important to you. So definitely be the architects of your life. Continue to be the architects of the lives, the captain of your soul. And when you're looking for that inspiration, keep listening, keep looking, dig deep, find that spiritual phone, that walkie-talkie back to that beautiful place I call heaven, and ask them to give you a sign, to give you a steer. And if there are particular people in that place I call heaven or the spirit world, there are particular people you want to contact to, one of the things I would like to plant as a little seed for you is about love. In the same moment that we took for healing and we surrendered ourselves to the will of something bigger or greater than ourselves and unconditionally sent love to those people that need it, I would say that if there are people in the spirit world that you are thinking about, then dedicating one of those services, dedicating some of that unconditional love to them as you live your day, doing it in their memory or in celebration of their life, that may encourage that person to step that little bit closer. I'd now like to bring in Mr. Phil Shaw, who would like to add a few bits to this address. But friends, thank you for listening to me. You're in charge and you've absolutely got this. Mr. Phil Shaw.
Thank you, Ashley. Hello again, friends. I'd just like to pick up on what Ashley was just referring to about his last closing remark. You've got this, which you have, because you've always had it. It's always been there. It's always the link to spirit is invincible, and it will keep you afloat through times of turmoil, through times of doubt, through times of insecurity, because those are the times when we start to doubt our spiritualism. We start to doubt that we are invincible. And the doubt can then produce all kinds of rocky roads within our life, our spiritual and our practical physical life, which we can overcome with the sense of self-belief. And I think that that sense of self-belief has never been more challenged than it has been over the last year with the pandemic and with the restrictions that have been imposed upon us. But at the same time, that period has been a great time of reflection, of consolidation, of being able to really stand back and look at really who we are, who we would like to be, who we believe we have the potential to become. Because in that way, we then become the true self rather than the self which we have chosen, the jacket or the persona we have chosen to project to the world. And that persona, many, many times, is a persona that makes us feel more secure within our own personal lifestyle. It means that we don't really have to take on the personal responsibility that our spiritualism requires us to do. Because, all right, we come to our churches, we read our philosophy, we say our prayers, and we try to be as helpful as we possibly can to our fellow human beings. But perhaps, friends, that is not sufficient unto the day as far as we individually are concerned. Perhaps there is a gaping hole somewhere that says, well, I think I'm doing all the right things, but maybe I'm not, because there seems to be a missing piece of the jigsaw. And then we start questioning, where is that missing piece? Is it because I didn't go to church last week? Is it because I'm not reading my Bible or my spiritual philosophy enough? Is it this? Is it that? But I'd like to offer you the thought that perhaps it is about using our own ability to contact the inner self, which is the self that feeds us spiritually. It nourishes us emotionally. It gives us the buoyancy to move through this particular physical life. And it gives us, more importantly, the ability to rise above the insecurity, the doubt, and the reliance that we seek from our spiritual roots. I would suggest also that in this time, in this personal time of reflection and consolidation, because this is a great time of consolidation as we move from one reality, from one physical reality to the new, as it's being referred to, the new normal. But of course, we all know that what we used to refer to as normal is no longer normal, because so much has changed with our physical lives, and therefore with our spiritual lives as well. Because as we start to become accustomed to belonging to ourselves more, and I think that's a very apt way of describing the circumstances that we are in at the moment. As we start to become more familiar with belonging to our spirituality rather than just paying lip service to it, we then take on the mantle of more responsibility to self. And we owe it to ourselves to become more inspired by the Spirit, to enter into that connectedness with our own spiritual self. For therein lies the power, therein lies the true essence of who we really are, not who we believe we are and who we would like to project to others that we are, but rather how we personally feel happy and fulfilled on a personal and spiritual level. So I leave these thoughts with you in terms of your own contemplation and your own reflection as we move from one particular reality to the reality that we are now being asked to embrace. Thank you for listening, friends.
Okay, friends, we've now come to that part of the service where Phil and I are looking to demonstrate our gifts of mediumship. If I should come to you in the church, or Phil should, then please let us know what it is you're saying yes to, and then it makes sense. Equally online, if you're on Facebook and YouTube, then make sure you're participating in the live chat. Thank you, Christine. Says it's a great service so far. Boys always makes me feel a bit younger. We were talking about old age earlier, Christine Woodham. It's lovely to think I've got Christine Woodham and Mary Dixie, two of my circle leaders, watching today, which is always very nice. And Karen Gallard says inspiring words. If you are in the church today, what we're going to try and do, Dad's going to try and give you a mic as well, just so that people online can hear and feel like they're participating in the service as well. Okay, so in terms of my mediumship, interesting word that Phil used there about consciousness. For me, there's two important things I want to say. One is that every week, I think it is Richard, Bill Hughes' show, Collective Consciousness. Is it Thursday nights? Yep. Wonderful show. And he talks about that collective consciousness. So do check that out if you haven't already. For me, the difference between a human being and a corpse is the absence or presence of a consciousness. It's the personality or the soul of the person that makes the corpse a human being, and vice versa. And it's that life after life. It's the continuation of that personality, of that consciousness. Now, my first communicator today, as they're coming through now, is a man. This man talks about being family. They would know, you would know this person as family. They were giving me the name Raj. Raj was what I was hearing, I think, in my mind's eye. Now, Raj was also giving me some links to Australia, and I was trying to see if it was about the links to Australia as the place or about the opera, because it was the Sydney Opera House he was showing me. But I also saw Brisbane on the map. So you'd understand this man, Raj. Raj is taking me over towards the left-hand side of his body, around his heart. So I called him Raj, and I wasn't sure it was his name. I think this gentleman could have been Raj. So someone, I think I will be online as well with this, although Lenka says she might know someone. You knew a Raymond. You knew a Raymond. Okay. Let me see if I can get more information just to see who I am with. I feel like I was being directed online, but you'd understand Raj. You'd understand this man that's passed with heart failure, a heart attack. He's had heart problems. And he's certainly got this love of the Sydney Opera House. It's funny, we were talking about being the architect of the universe, wasn't we? I'm seeing blueprints as well, and I think he enjoys the physical side of this building, although Brisbane is also important to him. It gives me the name, that name Raj. I do feel that could be his name, but I could be pronouncing it wrong. And I know if you're on Facebook and YouTube, you're about 15 seconds behind me. Lenka's possibly understanding some of this in the church at the moment. Not sorry, you're not sure about Australia?
I know the church and lots of different things, maybe be symbolic, I don't know.
Okay. Is it Shirley or Sheila? I've got this sounding noise that he was trying to give me as well. I feel like I'm linking to a lady, okay? Wendy says her dad is Reg, but Wendy, if you're saying yes to that, I'd also want you to understand why you would be showing me the Sydney Opera House and also Brisbane on the Australian map. Could be. I've got cousins in Brisbane, so it could be that there's this link here about cousins. You know someone in Brisbane?
Yes, because of all
okay. And yours was Raymond, but you don't have that link to the Sydney Opera House. Okay. Let me just see if I want more information to know. I'm definitely with you first, Lenka, because Wendy says she understands her dad, Reg, heart attack, as opposed to Rod. I could be hearing that wrong. So often when I'm hearing it inside my mind's eye. Anyway, even when my wife is sat next to me talking to me, she says I don't hear properly. So I could definitely be hearing that wrong. Right, Wendy, if I am with you, then you'd also stun this link to Shirley or Sheila or Sherry. Sheila, perhaps, was Sheila. Okay, anniversary of his passing. Wendy would have been recent, or Lenka. I feel like I'm in May as an anniversary of passing. I'm asking when he crossed over. I've got this anniversary, I think, in May. Middle of May.
The only birthday in May, but passing was Sunday.
His birthday?
My husband.
Your husband's birthday. Bracklesham or Brocklesham. Right, Wendy says Sydney Opera House, he did Constantine there, not sure about Brisbane. Okay, I think Bria. Okay, I don't think I am with you at Lenco at the moment. Wendy, I think I am with you. That seems to make sense. Sydney Opera House, he did Constantine there, not sure about Brisbane. Brisbane might just be to make sure that it's definitely family. I've got this link to Australia. As I said, I've got my own family out there, Wendy. Wendy, you'd understand then this May anniversary with him as well. And he was talking about, is it either Bracklesham or Brocklesham? It sounded like Brocklesham. Sounded like a road or a close or even a bay that he was just giving me that link with. So Wendy, if you're still in, let me know. That link out of interest, did that make any sense to you, Brocklesham or Bracklesham? Bria. Not me, no Shirley, but yes. Okay. I think I am with Wendy. She's just given me confirmation about the 18th of May passing and the birthday 18th of May passing. So I think I'm with Wendy Lenker for the moment. Wendy, as I link in with you, then as I say, I've got this man, you understand him as dad, you understand the Constantine, the love of the building and being in the Sydney Opera House. He wants to step forward and give you a hug. He embraces you with both his arms, and as he gives you a hug, he sort of lifts you up, and he's talking about wanting to lift your spirits, as also hold you and give you a moment to rebuild. He's talking about your resilience, Wendy, and he's talking about the fact that you need it. You need that breather, you need that moment. It feels like energy levels are low. He is there, he is holding you, and he is embracing you. He is sending you his love. He's also unzipping his mouth, which for me is symbolic of the fact that he's able to say these things and show his feelings around love much more easier, much more fluid now. Okay, you didn't understand the Shirley, or the Sheila as that was coming through, but there was a link to a lady that he was talking about that I definitely feel has got this letter S with her, as he was talking about her. And he was also talking about August, this lady with the S and August just being important, and him saying there's something to look forward to. Wendy, he's saying that he wants you to know that you have not wandered off the beaten track. You are held firmly with a piece of elastic. You wander, Gail, he says, you wander as far as you need to. You'll always spring back, you'll always bounce back towards the direction you need to go in your pursuit of paradise, in your pursuit of happiness, Wendy. So be confident in exploring the unknown. He says you're not too far off track and you know how to get back to where you're going. It's all generally in the same direction. I feel, Wendy, this is a professional thing that he's talking about. There's this work element, and he's talking about you just going for it. Feel confident in the unknown. Feel confident in that moment of change. And it's not about losing something, Wendy. It's about gaining. He says, don't associate this change with the loss of something. See it as taking a step forward, an investment in you and the opportunity to regroup. You'll always know how to come back. You are held firmly with this piece of elastic back onto that straight and track. Wendy, I'm now going to bring in Phil, that's going to come in and give you just a bit more on this communicator and link. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you, Ashley. Yes, hello, Wendy. When I was linking with Ashley's contact, I was being made very aware of the fact that this gentleman, oftentimes in his life, he used to see red. He was showing me the color red, which said to me that he used to let his temper go a little bit too far, and he needed to rein it in, pull it back, because he said, I spoke too often, too fast, and then regretted what I'd said. And he said that sometimes is a tendency that you have as well, to let off steam before you've actually thought it through properly and chosen your words very carefully. He also talks about you planting new seeds in your life over the next 6 to 8 months, because he said you've been deliberately waiting for the right opportunity to occur. He said, but it won't occur until you actually get the wheels moving and the wheels oiled, because you're afraid that if you take the leap now, you're going to precipitate some form of upset or disquiet amongst the people that you know and who may not think that your actions are appropriate. He's also talking about the fact that as he grew older, he became much more independently minded, where he said, when I was younger, I was a little bit of wanting to be one of the sheep in the crowd instead of honoring my own independence and freedom. and he refers to my poem that I read today about you are the victor of your soul, and exercising that freedom, exercising that free will, because that's something really, Wendy, that you haven't given yourself a chance to do up until now. And once you let go of those shackles of wanting to please too many people most of the time, then you will gain your own sense of independence and become a lot more self-fulfilled. I hope this is ringing bells for you, Wendy, and that we're on the right track here. He also talks about your mother and says, don't worry too much about your mum because the condition is improving, it's getting better. And with your thoughts and with your love sending to her, this will improve the situation and make for greater equilibrium within the family. And I'm going to leave that with you, Wendy, and say thank you very much. You have anything else to add, Ash? Or,
no, it's good. She's just given us confirmation that there's big changes at work, which was good.
Yes.
You can go to your next link.
Okay. Yes, I'd like to come to the church here now, because I have an elderly gentleman, would be a grandfather, and wishes to reach a lady here in the church. I'm coming, it's Linda, isn't it? Linda, yes? Yes, I thought it was. I just wasn't sure with the mask. Excuse me. Okay, I'm getting a grandfather, your father's father in spirit? Yeah? You didn't know him. Nevertheless, he's here. Because, he says that as I don't know whether you know about his circumstances and how he passed to spirit, but he's saying that it was quite sudden, and that when he did go, he was very breathless, because I'm getting a lot of breathlessness about me. And he says that from time to time over the last year or 18 months, you yourself have also been experiencing some asthmatic or some breathing difficulties. Would you understand? Yes, thank you. He also talks about the fact that he suffered with some form of vertigo or dizziness, which made it difficult, and eye problems, which made it difficult for him to find a balance in his physical life. And he said in that way, he wasn't always sure of maybe where he was or where he was going, and it was very unsettling. And he talks about where I was going and says that that applies to you as well, because you've had a period of time where you had no idea where you were going at all, either physically or in your spiritual life. And he said, please pick the spiritual tools up again, because you have them there and they're there to be used. And he said, you've been beating yourself up unnecessarily, because what you've learnt so far and what you've derived from your spiritual journey and spiritual experience has enriched your life on a level which you haven't yet fully embraced. Would you understand that? Yes, good. He also talks about your mother. Yes, your mother living? Your mother, she's not living, she's in spirit. Right, because he talks about, he said, mother living, right? And he's qualified that to say, mother is now living the life that she wasn't able to live when she was in physical reality. Would you understand? Because she deprived herself of pleasure and enjoyment in order to help other people. And therefore she wasn't sufficiently, she wasn't sufficiently able to give herself the enjoyment that she deserved from her physical life. Do you understand? Yes. But he says she is living now because she understands. You have a brother living. There's a gentleman in your life that you would think of as a brother, you would feel as a brotherly link, who is slightly older than yourself. Right, because there is a gentleman that you would associate with a brotherly link as a friend, who is somebody that came into your life about 2 or 3 years ago, and who you would recognize as somebody who gave you guidance, spiritual guidance, and gave you more enthusiasm about how to move along the spiritual pathway. All right, I'd like you just to keep that in mind, because he's definitely talking about this young gentleman. All right. He calls him a young gentleman, though I've said he's older, slightly older than you in earth years, but he calls him a young gentleman. Who's the dog? Because he's bringing a small dog back from the spirit world, who he said would have been in the family at one point. Right. This dog is a light, I'm not going to say white, but he's sort of verging on lighter coloured hair. Yes? Yes. And there was a great love for this dog, and this dog didn't live to be a great age. So I would say, in terms of physical years, probably 8 or 9 years, as opposed to the average 12 to 15. All right. Well, anyway, the animal comes back, the dog comes back to greet you. All right. He wants to round off the message by saying, never, never give up, because when you give up, you lose the sense of who you are. And he says the sense of who you are is so important for you now, because you're gaining extra strength, you're gaining more vision. He calls it vision. He says that your eyes have opened as to the awareness of life around you and what life can offer you in terms of developing your own sense, more of a sense of peace and tranquility, because there hasn't been much peace and tranquility for as long as we can remember. All right? And he's calling Edith from Spirit as well. He says that Edith, on your mother's side of the family, is here. Yes? Quite a proud lady who would have been very independent and very self-willed. Yes? And she comes in to say, look after your health, because your health suffers because you get into a depression and then you let everything slide. You understand? Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. And I'll hand over to Ash to link.
Hi, Linda. The communicator you understood as a man, I also felt that female energy of mother in the spirit world. You understand that mother in the spirit world. She was also talking about, is it a Steve or a Stevie that she had reunited with up here. She was talking about hospital as well. She was talking about value, you adding value around the hospital appointment. Would you understand this? Let me ask you more about it. You've helped enable someone. There's something about you. Yes, you've enabled someone to get to the hospital for the appointment. She wants to talk about the value that you've added to that. I don't know if you've physically taken someone to the hospital. Would you understand that? Okay. I mean, I suppose we've all taken someone to the hospital. I want a lady. Is it with an M? Marie, Maggie, Mum? No, she's Mum. She was talking about you taking her. You didn't have to take her, but you did. And she's talking about the fact that you added value. She wouldn't have gone without you. It feels like you've enabled her to get there. And it was important because it was, you'd understand that she needed to see that. They needed about the dominoes. She needed to knock down those dominoes. It was important that you took her, okay? And Mum was just saying, thank you for doing that. I feel this would have been, I don't know if it's her sister or your sister. She's talking about sibling, sister. I think that was what she was saying, not Stevie's sister. Would you understand that? Okay, right. That's what she was talking about. And she sends her love, okay? She wants to give you her love, and she's wanting to say that you're standing tall and proud, but not every day. She wants you to stand tall and proud as many days as you can, more as you can, because she wants you to feel unburdened. It feels like I need to unshackle you. It feels like sometimes almost someone that's trying to keep you down. Stand tall and stand forward, okay? She's very proud of that. Just keep doing. And if anything, the further you'll get away from it, although you'll feel this tension of the shackle, they will break and you will continue to feel more free of that. Does that make sense? Okay, all right. Welcome.
I'll get it right, yes.
Good. We support that. Thank you very much, Linda. That was your message. Okay. My next link is someone who... My granddad would love this, so it'd probably be kicking him out in a minute. He's arrived on a motorbike. He's arrived in the church on a motorbike. And he's talking about risk. And he's sort of balancing his hands up. He's actually wearing shorts and a vest on these motorbikes. And he's talking about taking risk for fun. Okay, this man describes himself in his 40s. I am seeing 4 and 2, as if I'm around 42. And I do see me coming off my bike. I'm not sure if that's cause of death. I'm asking him about that. But I was known, he says, for taking risks for fun. Good looking fella, and with his vest, you can sort of make out the definition of his chest. And I feel he's particularly, I look really odd now, don't I? Touching myself on stage at Wimbledon Church. He's quite proud of his pectorals and his chest. He feels quite good. He likes wearing this sort of vest. He enjoyed being admired, as I say, looked at. He enjoyed being admired. So I'm looking for someone, again, I think I'm online as I'm being directed online. You would understand this guy in his 40s, motorbike, across the pond. I don't know if I'm actually in America with him, or I've certainly been in America, or even if my death is somehow connected to America, but I enjoy taking risks for fun. I enjoy my motorbike. I enjoy the wind in my hair, and I enjoyed feeling that people admired me or attracted to me. But those that knew me, and it's she, okay, so I think I'm with a female, I'm with a lady. She would have known more about me, would have known I actually suffered quite a bit with my confidence. And in fact, I had a roller coaster of moods and emotions. I found it quite difficult to break that confidence. Tracy says, sounds like my friend's brother. Okay, Tracy, I'd want you to be able to understand everything I'm saying. Karen says, my friend Billy died messing around on a motorbike. Tracy said he died in a motorbike accident as well. So I feel like the 4 and the 2 is important. I know he himself would have been around his 40s, and I do have these links to America. So I think it was Tracy and Karen. If you would understand that, certainly he enjoyed being in America. There's something about not having to wear a helmet, or I didn't have a helmet. Something around my helmet. So Tracy says he died in a motorbike accident. Right, what else have I got? Okay. Elaine says she knows someone who passed on a bike. Thank you for those online engaging. I do want you to be able to say yes to everything. So if you're giving me the confirmation, like Elaine has just said there about the accident, I am Take America. I am assuming that you're saying yes to everything. 667. There's something about your telephone. About your telephone number. I feel like I've got him. I feel like dialing your number. Is it 667, something like that he was saying? Karen says he was proud of his body, he was 43. I feel like the 667 is important. The 667 is important with him as well. Karen said he'd been in America for 5 years, came back and died the next year. Okay, possibly I'm with you, Karen. I want you to understand the other stuff then. The 667, I feel, would be within your number. I feel like we've known each other a long time. He's a bit of a karaoke guy, where he enjoyed sort of singing. And he had quite a sort of deep voice. He's very vain, even this side, without a body. He's very vain. So it was very attractive, but had a lovely voice. He went all deep, a lovely voice. The ladies used to like listening to me. He's quite charming. He's got a lot of charisma. He's a very likable guy. Right, Elaine says she understands 766. I can't remember because I wasn't paying attention to everything else you said yes to. I'm assuming you've said yes to everything, Elaine. That number, it means absolutely nothing to me. If it means something to them and you, then Elaine, yes, I know her, he said. I know her. There is a bit of a gang up here now forming in the waiting room that I see in heaven. It's like a bit of a bikers meet on a Sunday morning in Wimbledon. So for those people that have understood bits of this, I don't have your communicator right now, but understand these people are in heaven, they are in the spirit world. And no doubt, yes, they're sending your love. Elaine, as I'm linking in with you and I'm communicating with you, and I think I'm giving you this information. No, America, I know her. Elaine, Richard, you might have to remind me. Was Elaine the person that understood America as well, the 5 years and the 1 year? Was that Karen? Elaine says the ladies loved him. He was charming. My business number. Okay, right, your business. Right, Elaine, I'm with you. Okay, yeah, because he said, yeah, I know her. And he loves you. I know her and I love her. Tell her I love her. Tell her I miss her. You can take, right. He said, I can take as many risks as I like for fun up here because there's almost no consequences. But there's still an element of me learning, an element of me growing up, of me maturing, of me able to do that. But heaven was everything I needed it to be when I got here. And it was a road. And I had my bike. And I was able to do what I wanted to do because you'll understand that I enjoyed that. And it was fun. For me, life was about taking fun. I didn't think too far into the future. Okay. And you understand America. It was the other lady, I think Karen. So I do think I've got a couple of other quick communicators up here as well. So I will bring up Phil to try and tidy this up. But Elaine, no, you've got him with you. He is saying he loves you. He's saying as well that, okay, I was listening, so I was listening to the address. Yeah, she's got this. She needs to understand this as well. I've got a broken heart, Elaine. He's wanting to help repair. There is a broken heart he's talking about, and there's been a loss, death. He's showing, okay, visual. He's showing me like the death card, like end of chapter, end of life. And I feel that you've had a love lost a loved one, okay, that he was just talking about there, and he was sending you his love. He was talking about the loud bike, and he was talking about revving the engine, and you hearing that, he said just now you would have heard it almost as if a bike had zoomed past. He said nothing happens by coincidence, Elaine. And he is with you. And I said, I'll get Phil to come up and finish this up. But I mentioned, didn't I, about this waiting room of other people on bikes. And I think it was Karen. Richard, I don't know if you're able to bring up one of the comments. I'm sure it was because he was talking about Karen. I've got another young guy that have died in similar circumstances, accidental. They're both happy-go-lucky, enjoying life. But it was the guy that lived in America and came back and died within the year around the bike as well. I think it's Karen. I'm sure I was with Karen. Karen King, knew each other from school. He used to sing karaoke. Yeah, that was the other guy. And they're having a bit of a party up here. They quite like it. It's a good opportunity. They've started wearing their vests. Now they've got their vests off. They're enjoying the sun, and they're having a bit of a sing-song. They're looking at each other's bikes. Karen, your communicator, he's using the word bromance. He says, yeah, we're getting on really well. There's a lot of bromance between us. Karen was saying about losing loved ones free in the last 2 years. But Karen, know that he's with you, and he's just sort of popped in to say, hiya, I'm absolutely all right. I'm enjoying this. He's got a lovely bike. I'm getting on really well with him. We've kind of met up here, and it's a good time. And it shows that even without our bodies, our personalities, you'd understand that, Karen. He says, I could be in a party. I'd be drawn to those people that had the similar likes and the things that we enjoyed. So Karen, yes, they were friends. Thank you. So Karen and the other lady, thank you. Those were your bits of message. I'm just going to bring in Phil now to see if he's going to add to those. Elaine says he was my school friend. Yeah. So you understand then that length of time. You understand the difference then between the communicators. But interestingly, as they've come together, they've shared a lot of the foundations of properties about what took them to the spirit world. And they're bounded and bonded by that. And they have a lot of love for you, and they're around. But they're enjoying it. If you can imagine now, they're saying, use your mind's eye. Imagine this waiting room in heaven with their shirts off, polishing their bikes, enjoying the sun. They're enjoying that. Elaine and Karen, that was your message. I now bring in Phil.
Yeah, hi Elaine. Yes, as I was linking to, I'm going to call him Mr. Pex, okay, because he's a larger-than-life guy, as Ashley said, and also the fact that he says that before he left to go to America, he was very regretful about the fact that he upset a few people because his departure seemed very, very quick and very abrupt, and he's saying to me, he was never a planner, so it was all spontaneous. It was very much on the spur of the moment. And in doing that, he put a few noses very much out of joint. But he said he didn't really care because that was his freewheeling kind of independent approach to life. And he said he loved America for what it offered him because it gave him the chance to expand his, as he calls it, his consciousness. And he said, I never felt that I was allowed really to become the person that I was meant to be when I was in this environment in the UK. And by being in America, it allowed me to physically, emotionally, and spiritually expand. He's talking about Wyoming and Colorado as particular places, particular areas where he would like to bike and where he got this sense of true spirituality. He's also talking to me about the Grand Canyon and the fact that San Francisco came into play at some point during his travels. He said that when he got back, he was a better man for that experience, but he also became, again, quite insular. And he said, one of my great problems here was that I never really was able to compromise very much. I always saw everything as kind of me having the right viewpoint and everybody else having the wrong one. So therefore, he said, I wasn't somebody who would sit and listen and pay attention to other people's points of view. But he's telling me that his friend now, who Ashley referred to, who he is with and having a beer with, he said he has taught me how to understand other people, how to accept and respect other people's viewpoints, and how to allow their viewpoints to change my own view of the world, which he said I tried to do through my experience of travel, but he said it wasn't enough because I was continuing to be too self-defensive. And he said, I've learned now how to process that and how not to rely on self-defensiveness as a means of security. He said, I'm sharing and I'm able to allow other people to share their life experiences and their emotions with me. And that gives me a completely different take on my physical life and what it actually represented, and has put me back in touch and reconnected me with the karmic reason for why I came into this particular incarnation. And therefore it has made me a better man spiritually for the experience. He's also talking about the heavy metal group Iron Maiden, and he said that any chance I got, I had the phones on and I was listening and I was rocking away to the Maiden. All right, he calls them the Maiden. And he just leaves by saying, he wants to say, don't worry about the fact that somebody is expecting, a male is expecting you to offer something in a practical sense that they think would benefit them, but which your instinct tells you is not appropriate to offer him at this particular time, because you know that he needs to stand on his own 2 feet. And in standing on his own 2 feet, his question will be answered by his own inner receptivity to inspiration and spiritual feedback. Thank you very much. Oh, it's me again, isn't it? Right. Okay, right. I'm connecting with a young man in spirit by the name of Anthony or Tony, who is somebody that would have passed over at the age of probably late 30s, early 40s, and he comes to link with a gentleman. Where am I going? He comes to link with a gentleman who is being very indecisive at the moment about a career situation. I'll tell you a little bit more about Anthony. I'm coming online. I thought I was in congregation, but I'm being moved onto line. And he's giving me the name of Anthony or Tony. And he said that he did not have sufficient time to fulfill his career, what he is calling career obligation, before he went to spirit. He said that he suffered a lot from energy depletion towards the end of his physical life. He said, unfortunately, I relied on medication to get me through and pills to get me through. Not drugs, not recreational drugs, but ordinary medication. Because he said I was a bit of I suffered from a form of depression, which didn't seem to be treatable by medical means. So therefore, I would try to take more pills, and when I was given them, they didn't really do me very much good at all. He said I had a great lack of self-belief, and it was in that self-belief that I didn't understand that with time and with greater application of my skills and abilities, I could actually achieve more than I did. Heidi is saying, I can take Tony, died early 40s. Thank you, Heidi. I definitely feel that I'm with you straight away here. Because he says that when you first met him, you didn't feel as though he was an easy person to connect with or link with. And you tried for quite some time to get to know him, and he didn't open up. He didn't want to open up, although he knew that you were a person he could, he could open up to. So eventually there was a stronger rapport between the two of you. And that's when what you were saying was helping him on one level, but unfortunately his own lack of self-belief came on too strongly to utilize the connection that you had. Right, he's saying that he wanted always to live in countrified surroundings because he was in a more of a built-up area. And that didn't suit him at all. He was your ex, he was hard to connect with for a long time. Thank you. He didn't refer to you as his ex, but certainly, yes, he was difficult to connect to. He said his lack of patience was not a good quality, and that he would get very frustrated with himself because he'd always want to do things yesterday that needed time and application and concentration to do. When he did pass, he said it was very sudden, and it was quite a shock to the people he knew, to the family. And his father was in spirit, had gone to spirit before him, and he met with his father in spirit. He lived in a flat and hated it. Yes, in an inner city area. I shouldn't presume, but I'm going on the information that I gave you. He lived in a flat. Good. He's talking about fishing. He's showing me a fishing line and throwing a line out to sea. And he said, although I fished, I never really caught many. But he said, I like to do it because it helped my mind. It helped me to be calm and to pacify myself. And he said, there was so much that I've now learnt in spirit that I wish I put into practice here. He did get frustrated badly, yes. So if you could confirm on the fishing, or if you could please confirm on the fishing, Heidi. He also uses that as a metaphor, because he says you personally have been trying to fish metaphorically. You've been fishing around and trying to find the right mix or the right ingredients to put into your metaphorical mixing bowl to produce the result that will identify, he calls it, identify you with the outside world in terms of your love for your profession, your career. And he said, you've actually got it all there. You just need to put it into practice. You don't really need any more ingredients. Everything is there in the bowl, in the mixing bowl for you to use. It's already prepared and it just needs putting in the oven and cooking. All right? So it needs application. His dad did go first. He loved fishing. Yes, thank you, Heidi. So, yes, he wants to be remembered to you. He wants to send his love out to you. And he said, I wish I could have been more patient and more tolerant. And he said, I had tried to communicate with you before, but it didn't work terribly well. But he said, oh, you do feel me around you, and you do know, yes, you do know that I have been present within your living space. He's talking about what happened last Tuesday, and that you got rather upset and quite disturbed about something that happened or a conversation that took place last Tuesday. If you could confirm that, please, Heidi. Makes sense, Phil? Thank you. And he said, don't let what happened on Tuesday again throw a spanner in the works, because he said you are resilient, you are strong, and you can overcome. You are starting to discover that you can overcome what you see as a problem, which he said more often than not is not a problem. It's a doubt that comes from your own childhood, when you were unfortunately not allowed to express yourself in the way that you wished to and the way in which you knew you wanted to. Heidi, yes, I know he has. I feel him around, was with him when he passed. Thank you. And if you could just confirm on the Tuesday, please, Heidi, and what happened on the Tuesday. Okay, yes, he's just moving back now, but he's also talking about a birthday in September, and I want to go to the 14th or 15th of September. And I want to go to a lady's passing. He brings a lady in, but she's not clear. She's standing very much in the background, and I feel she's an aunt on your mother's side of the family, but she waves, and she says that 22 minutes past 2 was the time of her passing into spirit. 22 minutes past 2, because somebody said that time as she was separating from her physical body. Lots of family stuff going on. Can't remember what happened Tuesday. All right, well, if you can, it would be great if you could feed that back at some point, Heidi. All right, and thank you. I'll leave it there, and if Ash wants to connect, thank you.
Thanks, Heidi. I was linking in with Tony as well, and it's just bringing this real sense of love for you, but quite cheeky chap. And he was saying, oh, she's gorgeous. Tell her she's gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous woman. And he's talking about the fact that you need to feel more gorgeous. It was really important for him to say, he said, here's your homework. Look yourself in the mirror. Tell yourself that you are gorgeous and hear me saying it, because you are. And I want you to feel more at home with that. More, love yourself. He said, love yourself, look after yourself and love yourself. He was talking about his dad, Heidi, and he was saying you'd understand that things were a little bit frosty with Dad and I when we were reunited. But I want to also talk about the fact that it was good, because good. Heidi says that was just like him. He was saying with his dad, there were some things that he had been wanting to say to his dad, some things that his dad needed to hear, that he had found it hard to get off my chest, he said, but it felt that it was okay. My dad was more receptive to it, and therefore that initial frostiness had gone. Okay, Heidi, know that he loves you. He thinks you're absolutely phenomenal. He really wants to throw the comments to you. Gorgeous girl, my gorgeous girl. Thank you. Thank you for what you did. He said, yes, you kissed me on my forehead after I'd already left my body. I thought, oh, she's kissing. Oh, it was me. And she was saying, you kissed me after I died. But I want to say that I felt like I was there. I don't know if you can, he's showing me almost as if he was laying in a bed. You're saying, yes, him and his dad needed to mend and sort out. Yes. He's saying that it's something about his arms. Either his arms were down by his body. He felt like he wanted someone to put his arms up. He said, I wanted to look more Egyptian, want my arms crossed. But you'd understand kissing me. I feel like around the right-hand side of his temple. And you did kiss him on his forehead. Okay, thank you, Heidi. Thank you for that confirmation. That was your message. I feel like my next communicator is linking with someone in the church. Okay, got a lady here. Okay, I've got a lady here claiming to be a grandmother. She's giving me the name Ivy, but she's also showing me that Ivy. Sharon, is it okay if I come to you? Okay. That'll pass you the microphone. Freshly sanitized. We're to risk assess that activity today, but you've got freshly sanitized mic just so people can hear. Now, for those that don't know, I had the honour and privilege of knowing Ivy, Sharon's grandmother. This lady's coming forward claiming to be Ivy. She's giving me that Ivy, but she wants to be quite specific about you and about the evidence. She's talking about a woman being very rude to you on the phone. This woman was very rude to you on the phone. It was something to do with even administration or processing around a form. And she was trying to point out something on a form, and she was very rude about it. I feel like either they filled out a form incorrectly or you filled out the wrong part of a form and someone was saying something to you on the phone. And Ivy was saying that this woman was rude. Would you understand that? There's been a few. And it's talking about the fact that it was this lady's fault, and yet she was being rude to you, almost in the process of her being rude to you, as she was speaking out aloud, it was kind of becoming self-evident that it was her mistake. Would you understand that? Yeah. And she was saying karma. Doesn't usually happen that quickly, but it did for her. But she's like she wouldn't swallow her pride, and she refused to acknowledge it and say sorry. And she said, okay. Now, she was also... I'm asking for specific things so you know it's her. Okay, something about her ring, and I feel like I'm on wedding ring finger, but on the other hand, and I feel that she's talking about swelling. Would you understand more swelling in your right hand side? Yeah. Okay, and she was talking about a ring of hers that she was unable to wear where she wanted to wear. Yeah. You understand that? Okay. She was also talking about your accounting. Okay, now she had no financial expertise that I'm aware about as a qualified accountant, but she's talking about balancing the books, and she's talking about you balancing the books, and she's showing me, I feel like I've got different accounts, and she's got some, it's like 006. She said almost James Bond, 006, as part of this account number that she was just making reference to. And her being with you, it felt like you had put a lot of energy and a lot of effort into this, and it feels like I've moved something from one to the other, even down to the penny. So you were thinking about rounding it up, and you've moved the exact to the penny. Okay, so she was just saying that. She goes, that's my girl, attention to detail and doing what's necessary. She talks about the fact that at the moment she feels it's quite important for you to decide where you put your energy. Okay, it feels that if energy was spoons, you're only given so many spoons each day, and you're working out that if you do everything that needs to be done, you run out of spoons and you run out of energy. So she's saying you're working out if it's worth the spoons. And she's talking about the fact, yeah, I'll do that. But she says, it's going to sound really strange. She said, I'll be careful how I say that as well. So I was going to say she was watching you in the shower. She wasn't watching you in the shower, but she was just talking about the fact to shower and to wash your hair. It's like too many spoons. I'll either wash my hair or I'll shower. Okay, you understand that. And she's just talking about you balancing it well and you focusing on the detail. And that's why she was talking about the pennies. Was it something like and 47 pence or something like that? She was just showing me this point.
It's me rounding up to a pound. Reading,
okay. There we go. She was just attention to detail, good attention to detail, good eye for this. Yeah. I complimented you on your dress, didn't I, when I come in? And she's just talking about it as well. And she's talking about floral in particular, giving you a sense of empowerment at the moment and feeling quite about. She wants to surround you by flowers, but the right sort of flowers, because she's also saying you're irritated in your eyes around by the pollen. So she wants to give you the right flowers and surround you with them and that love. He'll get there, okay? And she's talking about your son. She's talking about she's calling the young one, the magician. Yeah. The magician. I don't know what she's calling him the magician, if that makes sense to you. Right, okay, that makes sense to you. He'll get there. Yeah. He's got a good lead. He chooses to follow you both. He knows. Yeah. He'll get there, okay? Love you. We love you. We're surrounding with love. You know you feel that love. Okay, she said, I'm meeting your spirit team, your spirit guides. And I feel like they've invited me to be close to you, almost as if let's call it this professional side of spiritualism, but she's talking about her being aware of your guides more. Now she's this side. And she's talking about the fact that they're more excited because they're working with you more. Okay, and again, it's about spoons, but it's about balancing the spoons. And she says, you've got the balance absolutely right. Love you. Frog. Talking about the frog. Yeah, frog. Okay. Yes, okay, she's just a frog. And she's quite funny. She's just like, ribbit, it's from the frog. Okay. Yeah. That's her popping in, sending you her love. Phil, did you want to add anything to that? Yeah, I'll just bring Phil in. Thank you, Sharon. That's your message.
Hi, Sharon. It was nice as Ash was linking with Ivy. I didn't actually really know her very much personally, but I'd seen her demonstrating on platform and I'd said hello to her a few times and really admired her. But she's laughing and she's saying, she's just saying to me privately, she said, you're falling into a few little habits that I used to have and which I had to iron out. So she's told me what they are and I'm going to deal with that. That's just a little note to me. Okay. All right. But she's talking to me about the great love she had for her mum. For her mum. Yes. Yes. Her mum. And she said, my mum didn't always understand me, but she said she understood me much better when I got to Spirit. Yes. And we were able to talk things through. Yes. She said there was a bit of personal rivalry going on there. Yes. And she said it wasn't something that I often wanted to share with the family. And when the children, your mum, got older. Yes? Yes. All right. She talks about your older brother. Yeah. Yes? Because she said, she's showing me him doing this. Couldn't get it right. Yes? Yeah. And beating himself up. Yeah. And she said if only he'd give himself more space and more time to actually get things into proper order. Because she's taking me to this piece of paper here that says the running order for the Divine Services. The running order. Yeah. And he hasn't got any running order because it's all spiraled out of control. And she said that's what she's helping with. That's what she's... Yes, I will. That's what she's helping with, and she said he will get better once he starts listening to what other people have to say. And she said I won't say that word. She said he's a so-and-so because he's got deaf ears, cloth ears when it suits him. And that's his way of going on. She said, don't keep trying to drum it into him, because she said the more you try, the more he will resist. Okay, but if you got the chance, don't try and drum it into him. All right. She's talking about mother of pearl earrings as being some earrings that she would have worn at one point, which she was very fond of. She talks about mother of pearl. Yes, because she's sending you that as a symbol. And she's, yes, what is it? She's talking about, hyacinths. Because she said you have a particular love of hyacinths. And she said, have you noticed recently how when you've been amongst plants and flowers, they've started to speak to you? Communicate with you. Yes, I do talk to them. It's on a sensory level. Yeah. You're not actually hearing the voice. Yeah. Hello, how are you? But she said you do get a sense, a different, and it gives you great healing. Yes, it gives you great healing. She's talking about meeting Mark in spirit, because Mark comes through to speak. A friend of Ivy's, who she would have known when she was here, who was very much involved in spiritualism, Mark. And she talks about a gentleman on the father's side of the family called Bert. Yeah? And she's talking about Bert and cleaning windows and getting everything polished and shipshape.
Yeah, okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because she said there's still a few things that you need to get shipshape. And she said, you better get a move on, girl, because you ain't got that much time. No, I don't mean going over. In terms of the objectives that you want to achieve in your home, in terms of refurbishing and decorate, whatever, she said, get on with it, because she said you're leaving things that need to be done until the last minute.
Okay, yeah.
All right? And, right. Well, you think you're going to, a few years ago, you think you're going to Bristol, or had friends or people that you know that lived in Bristol? Bristol Parkway. She talks about a journey that might have been made to Bristol. If you think about it, let me know, because she said you may have to, or Michael may have to drive you up to Bristol.
Okay.
All right, that will mean something to you. She talks about the electrician who needs to come and fix something. The electrician, there's some wiring problems in the house that need to be dealt with. Okay, okay. And also she says she's met Marjorie in spirit. Yeah? Because she said Marjorie was really coming to terms with her spirituality and starting to blossom and become a strong clairvoyant. Yeah, you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much.
That's it, isn't it? We quarter past. Yeah, I think, Richard, we're at time, aren't we? Yeah, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah. No worries. Ladies and gentlemen, to Wimbledon Spiritualist Church, Facebook and YouTube, we've come to the end of the service, sadly. It's been wonderful. It's actually gone very quick as a medium. Do hope you've enjoyed it. If you've enjoyed it at Wimbledon, you're welcome to give us a round of applause if you like, if you're a woo-woo. Thank you. And hopefully those people on Facebook and YouTube have been able to participate and feel like part of the congregation today. We have tried some extra microphones and lights, so hopefully that has worked well for you. If you have enjoyed it on Facebook and YouTube, perhaps share the stream for us. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Give us some hearts on Facebook, and perhaps share this with some friends. Let them know about what you've seen today. And hopefully that is evidence of life after life. That's the principal job, I believe, of a spiritualist medium. There's all sorts of fantastic content on Spiritual Psychic TV. Do make sure that you've subscribed to the YouTube channel, you've clicked on the bell, you've got your notifications on Facebook. There's a couple of things coming up that I just wanted to let you all know about. One is for the VIPs, the patrons of Spiritual Psychic TV, the members. You can join Marcus on Zoom this evening at 8 p.m. via Zoom. That's the VIP night with Marcus tonight at 8 p.m. And very excited to tell you about a brand new show, 11 a.m. tomorrow, and that's brunch. You can have virtual brunch with Spiritual Psychic TV. It's every Monday from 11 o'clock. You've got special guests, readings, tutorials, and much, much more. So do check that out. That's Monday, 11 a.m. brunch with SPTV. And then Matt and Kirsty Grogan are your mediums from tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Do check out the lovely Matt and Kirsty Grogan. And of course, have a look at some of the other things on the channel. All of the shows have been archived. I think this Divine Service now has been streaming for over a year. Lots of really interesting content. So have a look at some of them on playback. Just remember, it's very unlikely you're going to get one of the live free readings on some of the playbacks. For those of you that have donated today in the Play at the Church, thank you very much for your contributions. For those of you that have found our PayPal site, thank you. Thank you for making donations towards keeping this and Hatbridge Spiritualist Church open. It's very much appreciated. Christine says, thank you for the service, as does Heidi. She says, it's the first time either of you have given me a message, and she really needed it today. Big love and thanks. So that's nice from Heidi. Heidi, you're very welcome. Richard James, our wonderful producer in Portsmouth. Thank you so much, Richard, for giving us the opportunity to put this service out there, for all the fantastic work you and your team do behind the scenes. It's very much appreciated. To everyone online, I bid you good afternoon and farewell. Stay safe and look after each other. And to those at the church, may you have a safe journey home. And I'm now going to just close the service in prayer, if you'll join me. Mother, Father, God, as we close this divine service, both at Wimbledon and online this evening, we thank you. We thank you for the opportunity to give us evidence of life after life, to share our knowledge of spiritualism and the truths of knowledge of that life after life. We're grateful for our friends, our family, and our loved ones who have come through with those messages of comfort. We know that if friends haven't been able to have their message given today, we recognize that you are close. We take your spirit home with us. May you watch over all of the congregation, both at Wimbledon and virtual. Watch over them and their homes, sending out your unconditional love and your healing to everyone in need. May everyone have a safe journey home for those that are physically transporting, and may you have a switch shut down and restart of your laptops or computers for those online. Mother, Father, God, Amen. Thank you, friends. Thank you to everyone online. Good afternoon. Take care, everybody, and thank you. And thank you for everyone at Wimbledon. God bless you all.